Okay, this can be a handful here. It can be confusing, dealing with percents. Here's the problem. Now, before you just freak out and yell back to me you don't get it, you probably want to watch me do one. A scientist wants to make 6 milliliters of a 30% sulfuric acid solution. Okay? The solution needs to be made from a combination of 20% sulfuric acid solution and 50% sulfuric acid solution. How many milliliters of each solution must be combined to make a 30% solution? Now, to know what the heck a 30% sulfuric acid solution is, watch me draw this picture. Just watch, okay? This whole thing is 100%, okay? Well, it's cut into two parts, one part bigger than the other, okay? This is the sulfuric acid, and this is the water, okay? So, that means in this container, okay, you have 30% of it, remember it's expressed as a percent. 30% of it's sulfuric acid, then 100 minus 30 is 70, okay? That's 70% water. Okay, now you didn't see the 70% because you don't have to use it in the problem, but that's what that means. And in this bucket, you have 6 milliliters, okay? Now we got this from 2 separate buckets, okay? Now, here's how this can be set up. You're going to make your 9-box grid, but you're not going to have to label it, okay? Now, here's what you're going to do first. You're going to put in your percents, but you got to do it smart. What's the highest percent you have in the or the lowest percent, I should say, lowest percent, 20. Put that in there. Now, what's the highest percent you have? 50. What's the middle percent? What's in between? What's the percent you have in between? 30. So it's the lowest, the highest, and the in between. Now, what you need to do quickly now is move the decimal twice to the left, okay? So you put a 0 in front, 0.20. Okay, 0.50. 0.30, okay? Those need to be expressed as decimals. Now, here's what you do now, and that's now crossed out, those ones here. Now, this is for actual numbers, so I'm going to cross out. The 6 is the only actual number I have, and it's in the same sentence as the 30%. So that goes here, and we don't know how many milliliters come from these separate ones. So x, y. So that's an equation, x plus y equals 6. Now, to find your second equation, you multiply, okay? So 0.20 times x is just 0.20x because we don't know x. 0.50 times y is 0.50y. Then we are timesing 0.30 times 6. We're finding 30% of 6 by taking 0.30 times 6. 1.8, and there's your other equation. Now you make your thing and stack them. So x plus y equals 6. And then 0.20x plus 0.50y equals 1.8. Now you apply your elimination method, okay? So you don't have anywhere you have the same, so you need to multiply here by 0.20, and you multiply here by 1. Times 0.20 times 0.20 times 1 times 1. 0.20 times 1x is 0.20x. 0.20 times 1y is 0.20y. And then 0.20 times 6 is 1.2. And the bottom times 1 just keeps it the same. Okay, line up your columns again. These are the same, but you need a positive and a negative because you want to plus them, but they're not going to make 0 unless you put the negative, negative, negative. So I add those, that's 0x. Okay, takes out the x. Now I add these, you got to go slow. Negative 0.3. You don't just put negative 3, you put the decimal that your calculator gave you. Then 1.2 plus negative 1.8, negative 0.6. Now you're good to go. You divide each side by negative 0.3. Okay, negative 0.6 divided by negative 0.3 is 2. So go up to your y and put 2. Now the 2 is under the 0.50, so it's 2 at 50%. Now, to find your other one, just use the top one. 1x plus 1y equals 6. So y equals 2. Remember, you're not taking 1 plus 2. 1y means 1 times y, so now that y is 2, it's 1 times 2, which is 2. So we have 1x plus 2 equals 6. So minus 2, that's 4. Divide by 1, and we still have 4. 4. They should make 6 together. Okay, next problem. You're doing the same, kind of the same process. So when you see 3 different percents in the problem, you want to use your grid. How many ounces of a combination of 20% hydrochloric acid solution and a 70% hydrochloric acid solution need to be mixed to obtain 20 ounces of 50% hydrochloric acid solution? Okay, in the top you put your percents, okay? Circle them. Put your lowest first. Now you put your highest, because you're mixing the low concentration with the high to get the in-between 50. Now, you need to write them as decimals. You put a decimal at the end, move it twice to the left. So, you put a 0 in front, so it would be 0.20. 0.70. 0.50. Okay? Alright, now the only actual number I get that's not a percent is 20. It's 20 of 50. 20 is in the same sentence with 50, so it goes here, and then I don't know what goes here, so I have 2 different variables, x and y, and that's an equation. Okay? Now, find your products. So 0.20 times x, 0.20x. 0.70 times y, 0.70y, and 0.50 times 20 is 10. And there's your other equation. So these are your 2 equations we will be working with. Now we stack them and turn it into a normal problem. X plus y equals 20, and then 0.20x plus 0.70y equals 10. Okay, so you need to multiply because you don't have the same. So you multiply by 0.20 here, by 1 here. So on top we have 0.20x. 0.20 times 1 is 0.20y. 0.20 times 20 is 4. Now bottom, since you're just multiplying by 1, it stays the same. Negative 0x, but then that has to go negative, that goes negative. So when you add, you got to add with the negative. So I take 0.20 plus negative 0.70. I got negative 0.5. Then we take 4 plus negative 10. That's negative 6. Now it's dividing time, okay? You divide by the decimal negative 0.5. So I take negative 6 divided by negative 0.5, that's 12. So 12 is with 70%. Okay, then use your first equation. 1x plus 1y equals 20. Y equals 12. So it's 1 times 12. 1 times 12 is 12. So we have 1x plus 12 equals 20. So minus 12 minus 12. 20 minus 12 is 8. 8 divided by 1 is 8. Okay, next one. A farmer needs 24 gallons of milk that is 20% butterfat. If the farmer has a combination of two milks, one that is 24% butterfat and one that is 18% butterfat, how many gallons of each type of milk does he need? So again, you got all these percents, okay? So you make your first on the top row, you don't label anything. Top row, you circle your percents. Now, and I messed up down here. This isn't supposed to say 20, it's supposed to say 24. I screwed up, okay? So, what's my low percent? 18. It always goes low, then the high, then the in-between. It has to be like that because you're mixing the low and the high and the result is something in between. Okay. Now, 24 is the only actual number and it's with 20%. So you put it under 20% in the 20% column and then put X, Y. And that's an equation. That's one equation. Now, you multiply. You are multiplying here. You are not doing anything else but multiplying. Oh, shoot, I didn't make these into decimals. I'm sorry. Can't. 1, 2. So 0.18. 1, 2. 0.24. 1, 2. Always put the 0 in front. 0.20. Okay, there we go. So 0.18 times x, 0.18x. 0.24 times y is 0.24y. Then I take 0.20 times 24, 4.8. Two equations. So x plus y equals 24. Then 0.18x plus 0.24y equals 4.8. Okay. You have to make those decimals or this is going to get ugly. Okay. So go for the x's. You're going to multiply by 0.18. You're going to multiply by 1. So times 0.18 times 0.18 times 1 times 1. Okay, so we get 0.18x. When you multiply 1 by something, it's just whatever you're multiplying the 1 by. Then you take 0.18 times 24. It's going to be 4.32. On the bottom, when you're just multiplying by 1, it will just remain the same. Okay, there you have the same thing, but you got to make that negative. That add those, it takes you to 0. Then you got to make that negative. Since you made this negative, you got to make these two negative. And you take 0.18 plus negative 0.24, that's negative 0.06y. Then 4.32 plus negative 4.8, negative 0.48. And you divide. Then negative 0.48 divided by negative 0.06 is 8. Okay, so 8 is in the 24% column. 8 is under 24%, so that's that. Then use your first equation, 1x plus 1y equals 24. So y equals 8. So we take 1 times 8, that's 8, so 1x plus 8 equals 24. 24 minus 8 is 16, so 1 times x equals 16. Then you divide by 1, and you get 16. Okay, next one. In chemistry class, you have a combination of 1% hydrochloric acid solution and 5% hydrochloric acid solution. You need 100 milliliters of a 3% hydrochloric acid solution. How much of each solution should you pour into the mix? So, you don't need a label on a percent. You circle the percents, all 3 of them. You put the low first. You put the high second, the greatest number, and you put the middle, the in between here. Okay. Now, this is for the actual measurement. The only measurement you have is 100. That's in the same sentence with 3%, so that's where it goes. And we have x, y. Now, you got to move the decimal twice. Twice. I said twice. Once, twice. So put a 0 in front of it, 0.01. Okay, it's not 0.1, it's 0.01. You move it twice. Okay. Now put the decimal here, you move it twice. That's once. That's only once. Move it again, you fill in the loop with a 0, you put a decimal, and you'll put 0 in front. 0.05. 3%. Once, twice. Fill it in with a 0 if you run out. Okay, you still putting the 0 in front, so now it's 0.03. Okay, so 0.01 times x is 0.01x. 0.05 times y is 0.05y. Then we take 0.03 times 100. Well, I can actually figure that one out. It's 3. So those are your 2 equations. X plus y equals 100. 0.01x plus 0.05x, then 3. These are not the same, so you're multiplying by 0.01 here and by 1 here. Okay, so 0.01 times 1 is 0.01x. 1.01 times 1y is 0.01y. And 0.01 times 100 is 1. On bottom, three times 1 is 3. So negative, negative, negative. So add, you get 0x. 0.01 plus negative 0.05 is negative 0.04y. And 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2. Okay. And you divide. So I divide negative 2 by negative 0.04, and that is 50. Okay, so y is 50. That's under the 5%. Okay, it used to be, just look at the percent. It's under the 0.05, so it's 5%. Then write your other one. 1x plus 1y equals 100. So 50 is going in for y. 1 times 50 is 50. So 1 times x equals 50. Divide by 1, divide by 1, that's 50. Okay, last problem. For extremely cold temperature, you need a combination of 100% antifreeze solution and 50% antifreeze solution. You need 11 quarts of 70% antifreeze solution. How many quarts of each solution do we need? Circle your 3 percentages. So you've got the low 50%. Then the high 100%. Always has to go the smallest percent, the biggest percent, then the in-between percent. Okay. Now the 11 quarts is with the 70%. Okay. So X, Y. Now I keep forgetting. You need to make those into decimals. So you put the 1, 2. So the decimal's here, and I put a 0 in front. So we have 0.50. 1, 2. So we have 1.0. If it's 1 point with zeros, it actually ends up as just 1. You can put 1.0. That's fine. But okay, and that's 0.70, so if I run to the end, so I find the products. 0.50 times x, 0.50x, 1 times y is 1y, because you moved it twice, is 1.00, that's 1, okay, and 0.70 times 11. 7.7. So you've got equation here and here. Okay. So your two equations, you have x plus y equals 11, and then 0.50x plus 1y equals 7.7. Okay. The same right there. So we don't have to multiply because we already have the same. We just need to make that negative, and that drops out your y. Okay. Now you make that negative and add. You make that negative and add. So I take 1 plus negative 0.5. That's 0.5x. And over on the other side, we have 11 plus negative 7.7. That's 3.3. Okay, and that's x. Okay, I solved for x this time. Well, what percent's the x under? It's under the 50. So that's your answer for the 50. Now you go into your 1x. Use your 1x plus 1y equals 11. Okay, x is 6.6. It's x at 6.6. Not that it really matters because they both have 1s in front. So that times that, 6.6 is 6.6. So we have 6.6 plus 1y equals 11. So we subtract 6.6. 11 minus 6.6 is 4.4. Divide each side by 1, and you're still at 4.4.